going to break down the brackets, but don't forget, live, we will be out of the studio for the first time in a long, long time. We will be live on location this Thursday at the brand new Bally's FanDuel Sportsbook, and I'm looking forward to it. I will be joined live on location by my man BMOC, Jeff Nadu. He's going to be breaking down all the betting action, all the games on Thursday, and he is live on the video stream with us now, but we'll be live on location. BMOC, it's good to see you, man.
Hey, Mike, good to see you as well. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you and all the people. I know just a couple people have already reached out to me and said they'll be down there. So, yeah, if you're around, you're in the city or in the South Jersey, Philly area, and you're going to be in the Atlantic City shore area, come say hello. Bally's on Thursday, 2 to 6. Getting you ready for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, we will go through a lot of the betting lines, how to bet the tournament. Of course, those first 4 games start Thursday night, but really the action starts on Thursday. And Jeff and I are just going to kind of comb through the brackets here to kind of give you a little insight on the games themselves, more so than the betting angles. We'll talk about some of the games to bet tomorrow when Jeff's back at 3 o'clock. But, you know, the brackets came out last night, and, you know, I was like, all right, I got to get into these brackets because last year we missed. And then I'm looking through all the spreads, and it was almost overwhelming to see this whole thing. But I want to look at a couple of, like, the games in the middle here. You got that 8-9 Oklahoma-Missouri game. So let's start there with the West, where Gonzaga is the number 1 seed. But, you know, those good matchups. 8-9 Oklahoma-Missouri. And this one is kind of a very interesting one. Oklahoma started to play pretty well late in the season.
Yeah, you know, this is a game where, you know, whenever you look at a bracket, Mike, you know, a lot of people spend way too much time on games like this. So when you look at this game, it's a complete coin flip.
Yep.
You have both teams. They play very similarly. Both are very slow tempo-wise. They both have good guard play. You know, similar bigs. You know, both have good coaches. And yeah, at the end of the day, Mike, I don't think you spend a lot of time on this game because ultimately there's tons of other games to bet on. And whoever wins this game has no shot in the next game. So it really doesn't matter. I think 8-9 games this year are interesting because there are a couple that are going to mean a lot. But in the Baylor bracket and in the Gonzaga bracket, I just don't think they're much importance. I think it's a really tough game. Slight lean, gun in my head, I take Missouri just because
All right.
I think Tillman I like down low. I worry about Oklahoma. They had games where they look really good this season, but the 3-point defense is poor. And when you look at Oklahoma, they have some defensive issues, and they had some games where they lost to Kansas State. They had some rough losses.
They also have some good wins. I mean, they beat Kansas, They beat Alabama, they beat West Virginia, they beat Texas. So those are the kind of things that stand out to me.
Yeah, and look, they both have good wins. Both these teams had some, you know, odd losses, and they had some good wins. But they're both teams that I don't think are going to play much a factor in this bracket at the end of the day, unless you have a legitimate feel for it, which I don't necessarily see it. I know all these teams in and out. This is about as big a coin flip as you're going to get. You won't find me watching this game much at all.
All right, 5-12s, people like them. This is where you can make a little difference. Creighton, UC Santa Barbara. These are 2 mid-major type of schools, so obviously you don't see that much in a 5-12 game.
Yeah, I think if there's going to be a 5-12 upset, which I'll tell you, all 4 of them, they're not particularly good. This is the only one where I think there is a legit shot that the dog will beat the favorite. When you look at Santa Barbara, a lot of people don't necessarily realize, but this was a really good basketball team. This was a team that, you know, all year spent, you know, most of the season in the top 75 offense, top 75 defense. This is a good team on both sides of the basketball. They're very fundamental. They haven't been to the NCAA tournament under their coach, Joe Pasternak, who's going to be a guy that a lot of teams, a higher end team, is going to look at. He's a guy that's done some really good things there. They take a lot of good shots, Mike. They're very fundamental. They're a big team. I think Creighton is a group that's kind of limping into this tournament. They got destroyed by Georgetown out of nowhere. They just have these games where they're inconsistent. They don't look particularly good. I think at the end of the day, Zagorowski is the best player on the court, and he'll find a way here. But this is a conference that's had no trouble pulling upsets. UC Irvine in 2019, they pulled an upset, I believe, that year against Kansas State. So this is a conference that can pull upsets. I don't think the other 5-12s have any shot, but this is one that I could see.
All right, I want to go to, because I think this one's interesting, see what you think if you agree, and that is the 6 Trojans from USC. They got to face either Wichita or Drake. I like both Drake and Wichita. I like both of those teams, so I find that USC's got a tough spot. They don't know who they're going to play, and then getting matched up against either one of those teams could be a tough one.
Yeah, I think Drake's going to beat Wichita State. I think what Isaac Brown's done at Wichita State is pretty honorable. Obviously, Greg Marshall had stuff off the court. This guy took over responsibility right at the beginning of the year, and here they are in the NCAA tournament. Pretty impressive. That just goes to show you the culture outside of Greg Marshall is strong in Wichita. I think Drake will beat them, though. When you look at Drake, they're going to get Hemphill back, one of their guys that's been injured for a while. He's one guy on Drake they desperately need. He's a guy that off the dribble can take anybody on the court. He can create his own shot. He's integral to a team like Drake. I think they will beat Wichita. I actually am one guy that actually is very high on USC. A lot of people haven't given this team enough credit. I thought you could make the case. They weren't great towards the end of the season. They should have been maybe, I think, a little bit higher, frankly. But I think defensively, they're really good. I mean, they have 2 terrors in the middle, the Mobley twins. Obviously, Evan Mobley is a next-level player. He's a top 10 pick. They're gigantic. Number 2 in the NCAA in height. Only one team is bigger. They're really going to make it difficult, Mike, to get into the lane. If you know anything about – we've talked before, you and I, about Osuni at Bonaventure. These kids, these 7-footers, just wall the paint off, and it's very difficult to get into the lane. I think if Drake can get hot from 3, they have a shot here because USC is not particularly long on the perimeter, and I think that could be a concern here. But I think USC is better than Drake and better than Wichita. I think they will take care of both teams just because Mobley is the difference. That athleticism that they have at USC, they're really tough to score on, particularly. And both these teams, in Drake and Wichita, I think are both going to have to get into the lane, and I don't think they can do that. I would lean USC to get by either of them.
Jeff Nadu's with me here. We will be live on Thursday at Bally's Atlantic City, the new FanDuel Sportsbook room. You can check us out from 2 to 6. We will go in depth on these games, give you some betting stuff as well today, tomorrow. The odds to win that West region, Gonzaga is a strong favorite. Iowa's 15-4, Kansas 11-1, Virginia 11-1, Creighton 16-1, Oklahoma 18-1, Oregon 18, and then USC 18. And then there's a big drop-off. Is there any value in that West region for you?
You know, widely enough, Mike, no. I don't. I'm generally one to always consider it. I think USC, if there's any team, USC is interesting. But, I mean, you have to realize, Mike, the top 3 seeds in this conference outside of Gonzaga's already beat all 3 of those groups by 10 or more in Virginia, Kansas, and Iowa. Mike, I would be absolutely floored if Gonzaga don't get to the Final Four. I think this is about as easy as a path as you're going to find. It's going to take a monumental effort to beat Gonzaga. This is truly the year if Mark Few cannot win. You have to wonder, will he ever win? And I'm going to tell you right now, Mike, it's not going to get any easier. Gonzaga's about to get the number 1 recruit in the country, Chet Holmgren. So next year, they're going to be right back. But this should be a walk in the park, Mike. It's like, a beautiful day down the shore. It doesn't get any nicer. It doesn't get any better. They are going to breeze to the Final Four, in my opinion.
All right, your favorite in the East, Michigan, Bama, Texas, Florida State, Colorado, UConn, LSU, BYU. The odds in the East are a little bit more favorable with Michigan 11-5. You go down to Maryland at 14-1, and then there's a drop-off after them. St. Bonaventure, you mentioned Osuni, who's from Mainland, played high school basketball at Mainland. If you watch that 8-10 game, he's the Defensive Player of the Year. They're in the 8-9 game, so we'll start with that. LSU, St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the most fascinating games of the first round here in both days. You have a team at St. Bonaventure who really got a tough draw here. I mean, I'm a big Bonaventure guy, but I'm also a big LSU guy. They are as good as it gets offensively with Cameron Thomas and Watford and Javonte Smart. They come at you in waves, Mike, and Bonaventure is going to get tested here. I really believe, Mike, this team either team, whether it's Bonaventure or LSU, I think they're a real candidate to get to the Final Four. If they can get past 1 or 2, whoever wins this game, I think can get past Michigan. With Livers out now, I think Michigan is vulnerable. And it presents value, Mike, when you're looking at getting to the Final Four, because Texas, the other team I really like at the bottom, once you get to the Elite Eight and you have an LSU, let's say, at 12-1 to get to the Final Four at FanDuel, you can hedge out of that bet and create some free money opportunities for yourself. So it doesn't sound like Livers is going to come back anytime soon. And I'm not saying that Michigan isn't still a good team, but they're a vulnerable team without Isaiah Livers. It makes other players have to step up, and then it cuts into their depth. There are players on the court that I don't exactly want to see on the court. The winner of Bonaventure LSU, I think, is a real opportunity to get past Michigan. And from then on, I think there's some upset possibilities. One of my biggest upset in this tournament is in this bracket. So there could be a lot of haywire in this one.
You'll leave us hanging with that?
I'm not going to leave you hanging. I believe, Mike, UNC Greensboro is going to upset Florida State. I have a real premonition here. When you look at matchups, obviously I'm particularly strong at finding what teams are going to be poor against other teams and whatnot. Florida State, Mike, has an issue. They do not have a point guard. There's not a set point guard on this team. It's a bunch of guys that are 6'6" or bigger, and they basically bring it up by committee. And that's an issue because they're 241st in the country in turnover percentage. They've had major issues all year getting the ball up the court. If you know anything about Greensboro, Wes Miller, the coach down there, still presses. He presses at a high level. He's going to pressure the hell out of the Seminoles. They have a kid, Isaiah Miller, that's as good a point guard as you'll find. He's tough. He plays a ton of minutes. His usage rate is really high. Think of like Malcolm Brogdon, that kind of player. He's really just in your grill. He has really good fundamentals. He's just a tough guy. I also, Drew Holiday, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Drew Holiday. Just a tough, strong kid. And I think they're going to bother Florida State. I think the true issue of not having a point guard is going to catch them right away. Not having that point guard against a team that presses is a concern for me. Obviously, they could pull away with their athleticism, but I think this could be a real concern for Florida State.
All right, Jeff Nadu, of course, we will be live on Thursday. We're going to dig deeper into this tournament, just kind of scratching the surface on this Monday now that it's fresh out. Michigan's the favorite in the East. Let's scroll down here to that Midwest where Illinois. Now, this is where my guys, I love West Virginia's bracket here. I like this draw. Illinois is the favorite 5-4, Houston 7-2, West Virginia 13-2. They're the 3 seed. Oklahoma State, Tennessee 9-1, Loyola Chicago 12-1, San Diego State 12-1, Georgia Tech 14-1, and then that's where the drop-off is down to Clemson, Rutgers. But I thought this Midwest region, if I'm a 3 seed like West Virginia, I was pretty happy with where they landed.
Yeah, I can't agree with you, Mike. I think this is the toughest bracket in the tournament. I think this is, outside of Cleveland State, I think every team is really good. Maybe Oregon State as well.
I agree there's a lot more depth here, but it doesn't have that Gonzaga, Baylor, the clear favorite. It's got a bunch of teams that are all up there.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Mike, that Mountaineer group better watch out for Morehead State. Morehead State is legit. They're not just some team that you're going to breeze over.
Don't give me another Stephen F. Austin repeat.
You might have it, Mike. Morehead State has NBA players. Johnny Broom is a next-level type of player. He will give Culver issues. Culver has not looked particularly good late in the season. He was laughable defensively against Oklahoma State. They sliced and diced him 2 different times. West Virginia is too dependent on the three-point shot, and it continues to be concerning to me. They'll find a way probably here, but Morehead shut down Belmont, Mike. Shut Belmont down. And Belmont is a better offensive team than West Virginia. I hate to tell you. This is a team that was tested. They played Richmond. They played a couple – Kentucky, Morehead played. Now, I know those teams didn't make the NCAA tournament, but they have athletic kids that are going to be at a similar level to West Virginia. And Bob Huggins, I'm sure if you listen to his pregame, he'll tell you the same thing. Morehead is a good basketball team. They're older, they're experienced, and they have a good young player on the block that'll give them issues. I think I'll continue to say it. Loyola is going to beat Illinois. I'm going to keep saying it. They're going to beat Georgia Tech, and they are going to beat Illinois. I know I'm going to keep saying this till the cows come home. Loyola Chicago is the best defense in the country. They are the best defense in this bracket. They have a big man that has played multiple different bigs throughout his career. Coburn will be a tough matchup, but I'll continue to wonder, can other players for Illinois outside of DeSumo and Coburn beat me. I'll take my chances there. I also throw in San Diego State. I took them at 65-1, Mike, to have a shot to win this thing. Very good defensively, good guard play. I always know Dutch are another good defensive team. This part of the bracket is a bear defensively. There's a lot of good defenses here.
Yeah, Loyola, by the way, is the 8-9 against Georgia Tech, who won the ACC, and then Illinois plays Drexel, who's making the tournament for the first time since like the 90s. Illinois was the number 1 seed, and then you've got some interesting matchups there where you mentioned San Diego State. They're playing Syracuse, Clemson, and Rutgers is that 7-10 there. So you like, as some good value, said you mentioned San Diego State, 12-1 is the odds right now for them to get the Midwest, to win the Midwest region. And then the last one would be the South, where Baylor is a huge favorite in the South. I mean, Ohio State, Baylor's 110-1. Ohio State's 15-4, Arkansas 9-1, Texas Tech 9-1. So the South there is a ton. It's Baylor and everybody else, according to the betting world out there.
Yeah, I mean Baylor. With Villanova's issues with Gillespie, obviously the bracket becomes a lot easier for Baylor. I'm going to keep saying this. Don't sleep on Purdue. Purdue's a good basketball team, good defensively. I think they have better guards than people give them credit for. Jaden Ivey has turned into a really good player, the freshman, and Eric Hunter is a defensive machine. He can lock up any player in America. So, Baylor's issue, Mike, is in the front court. They have some problems. If they face Purdue, Williams and Edey are very good. So Baylor better watch themselves if they get Purdue. Texas Tech's obviously here as well. You don't sleep on Archie and Ohio State, obviously down at the bottom, but I don't think it's going to be a breeze. I'm going to come out and say it. I think Baylor gets tripped up. I think Purdue trips them out, maybe Texas Tech. I think there's one team that is a lock to get to the Final Four, and that's Gonzaga. The rest of the 1 seeds, I think, are going to have major issues. We have to stop just assuming that every 1 seed is just going to get to the Final Four. They usually do, but this year, like anything, there's a lot of good teams in this tournament.
Well, and it's tough because this year, nobody played full schedules. You've got teams that took breaks and got scheduled based on that. So some of these seedings could be a little off.
They could be, yeah, and I think they are off. To give Loyola an 8 seed's a joke. Why are they an 8 seed? I knew they were going to be an 8 seed, but they should be a better seed. I'll tell you right now, Mike, Wisconsin is in this tournament. I think the most egregious team in this tournament is them. I know that's going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but the truth of the matter is, Mike, we need to stop giving teams the benefit of the doubt because they're in a conference where they should get the benefit of the doubt. Wisconsin has done absolutely nothing to be in this tournament. They're 17-12. They beat no one in the Big Ten we're talking about.
Right.
Their best wins against Loyola. This team should not be in the tournament. They just shouldn't. I don't want to hear about their Wisconsin. They've been inconsistent all season. They've been the most disappointing team in America, in my opinion.
All right, we'll have plenty more on this on Thursday. Jeff and I will have more conversations on all these games a little deeper. We'll get into the betting odds because those lines are out. We'll do that a little bit more tomorrow. We'll hit on some of those Thursdays. Maybe you can sneak a couple bucks in on Thursday. You jump in on those lines early for those first 4. And then on Thursday live, we will be at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. Jeff will be there live with me. So when it comes to college basketball, you can't get a better guy to do a 4-hour show with you than Jeff Nadu, and he will be on location with me in Atlantic City. We are really going to focus on this tournament. You're home for the NCAA tournament. We'll have all the games Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and all the way through the tournament. You can hear the tournament right here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, man, I look forward to Thursday. We'll do a little hit tomorrow on some of the lines for these games, but it was good to kind of get a quick little jump around to get some early thoughts. And then Thursday, we will be live on location. So we will see you tomorrow, and then on Thursday live. People can come out and see you.
I look forward to it, Mike. And I have something Eagles tomorrow I want to ask you. A player that I think they should consider, I know they don't have a ton of money, but they should go after. I'm going to ask you about that tomorrow.
I'm interested. All right. Well, they lost Mills today, so they're already losing guys. They need to find multiple safeties. They need a corner. They got a lot, so I'm interested to see who this guy is. So tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Jeff is back, and then we are live on Thursday at the new FanDuel Sportsbook in Atlantic City. Jeff Nadu, everybody. And where are you doing your some basketball talk now?
Yeah, I got a show every day, Picks-Wise, for the month of March. Picks-Wise, it's a YouTube and website based out of the UK, doing a lot of good stuff. Donnie Wright's and to have a cool show every morning at 9 a.m. I post it on my accounts. Make sure you check it out. And, Mike, I can't wait to see you down at the Bally's Sportsbook. If you're in the area, come say hello. You can ask me at any game you want. I will not big-time you.
He prefers the lower-profile games. That's where you make the real cash.
Correct.
And
Thanks, Mike.
Come out, by the way, and you can make your bets right at the new FanDuel Sportsbook, and then you can prop swap that ticket. How about that guy on prop swap sold that Michigan ticket for $15,000? You see that?
I can't. I have a Loyola ticket. I would consider selling it, but it's an online ticket, unfortunately.
Well, by the way, on Thursday.
I'll be betting at Bally's on Thursday. Though.
Luke will be there on Thursday. He's going to sit down and do a segment with us. He might take that bet for you since you're right there if you show it to him on your phone.
Well, I'm going to have to talk to Luke about that because and I'll have some tickets that I'm going to hope that I can use hard tickets down the road.
Well, somebody sold a Loyola ticket today, this weekend. He saw that. They sold it for $500. They paid $60. They sold it for $500. Don't even have to win a game in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to speak to Luke about that.
He will be there with us Thursday. He will be jumping on for a segment or two with us.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Mike.
All right, man. Take care. Jeff Nadu.